this is, what's her name again? Two Throneys.
Yes.
Yes. And I am John.
Hi, John.
Co-host from Osaka. And this is...
Kris. I guess the co-host. The other meaning two.
Yeah. Why not? Last week I called myself the host. And that implied that you were like somehow some kind of a guest.
Okay. I guess we could have two co-hosts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wouldn't be like semantically weird, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. Let's go with it then.
All right. Two co-hosts. Yeah, John in Osaka and Kris in Japan.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about episode 5
Yes.
of season 6 of Game of Thrones entitled The Door.
And hold that door, Jack.
And hold the door.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose they titled it The Door?
Well, I think Hodor took center stage in this episode.
Yeah. This was probably as a book reader. The only other real gut punch that we've had was when Shireen went to the wrong father-daughter barbecue.
Right.
And so that was a gut punch. But I would say, today was much more of a gut punch in the sense that this character was far more integral to the series and integral to the story. And also in the sense that we're about, since the TV show's been going 6 years now?
Yep.
People have been kind of making jokes.
Right. The
about Hodor.
There's parody songs with the Hodor. And
Yes. And now...
He's beloved. He is beloved.
Yeah, he's beloved. But now that we watch it and all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Very dark and sinister.
That's not funny at all.
Right.
That's just very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that on the one hand, I love when shows can take something from season 1 that we don't realize have some kind of special significance, and then 5 years later, and of course I shouldn't attribute it to the show. Of course it was George R. R. Martin, but still the fact that this narrative was so plotted so far in advance that 5 years later, in terms of the show, we're having this reveal. And as you said, Hodor, there's so many online jokes and kind of, they have a parody video of nothing but Hodor saying Hodor the whole time. And I don't know, in a way he's kind of innocent because he kind of got screwed over twice at the same time, like literally at the same time, right? Although not at the same time, but...
Yeah, his entire life was accidentally designed for one moment. And, from childhood on, he was basically rendered retarded.
Yeah.
So his entire free will was taken from him at a young age and just thrown away so that he could someday be a sacrifice, a living sacrifice, a human sacrifice for this other character who's, of course, more important because he's a noble.
Also more important for the story because he's a ward, right? I mean,
yeah.
I guess you could make the connection too about him being noble, but yeah. John, I think we had a long lapse in the last 10 seconds. I don't think maybe you can just repeat that last little bit.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I was just saying, basically, we have this character who was kind of basically designed, not so much by Bran, because he's kind of stumbling his way through all this, but his existence was basically, from childhood to adulthood, entirely designed to be a sacrifice for this one moment.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, it's going to be a pretty crushing realization for Bran next time we see him on the show.
So especially since it was completely preventable, because he didn't listen to the, what's the old guy's name in the tree?
Well, some people call him the Three-Eyed Raven. I call him Blood Raven.
Okay, well, BR, he warned Bran, don't do this without my guidance.
Yeah.
And of course, he let his emotions kind of, he really wanted to see the past, and he was that's kind of his opiate,
Well,
he
yeah.
likes to.
A crippled boy, all of a sudden to have some sort of magical power where you can go places.
Yeah, just definitely understandable, but it's kind of, it's always regrettable when the Night's King or whatever his name is grabs you on the arm and suddenly can kill all your friends and can show up at your doorstep almost immediately. It's almost like they were already kind of wandering around several miles.
They were in the neighborhood.
They were in the neighborhood. I mean, they showed up right off the bat there.
Yeah. Speaking of the ability to show up, like Littlefinger's racking up some massive frequent flyer mileage.
Yeah. Right, because he was just, I'm not sure geographically how far away the Erie, is that what it's called, right? The Erie is from the wall.
It's pretty far.
Okay.
It's about half a continent away. And, yeah, and so he was there last week, and then this week, way the hell up north by the wall. And so that was some impressive stuff. So one of these things that kind of makes you wonder what exactly is going on with the passage of time between episodes.
Well, I think, as long as there's nothing that defies reality, like if there's another part of the story that we know couldn't have happened unless only a short amount of time had passed, then, if it was like a major battle at the end of last episode and they were just cleaning up right after the battle was over this episode and then Littlefinger showed up, I would probably have a bigger problem. But since we don't really know if it's been days or weeks, I mean, it could possibly be weeks, as far as I know. I don't have a big of a problem with
Yeah. I give the show some benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
we don't know.
Right.
However, Littlefinger gets around. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah. By the way, onto another topic. What was the biggest tearjerker moment in this episode for you, John? Just curious.
Well, of course it was the realization for me that, Hodor was basically, he was born and died at the same time.
Yeah.
Whenever his identity was first forged, that was basically spelled out his doom from that very moment on. And so that was tragic. Also tragic, of course, was Summer.
Oh, right. We're down to what?
Summer.
There's only one direwolf or two. There's Nymeria missing in action, right?
Yeah, no one knows what happened in Nymeria.
And Ghost.
And possibly, I'm still a truther when it comes to Shaggy Dog.
Shaggy Dog.
I'm still thinking the Umbers are they're not working with the Boltons, and this is all a big northern conspiracy.
Okay, could be. I was thinking more. I mean, of course, in a kind of very unfortunate sense, the scene with Hodor, it was very tragic. Just because he's such a beloved. I almost feel that it's unfair for him to die. He's such an innocent character. He hasn't done anything to deserve this. I mean, no character is kind of as pure as Hodor in a sense, because he's never done anything to anybody. He's kind of like as Osha called him, the gentle giant, right?
Yeah,
he's the gentle giant.
Very sympathetic character.
Right?
Yeah, totally innocent, undeserving of any of the terrible things that happened to him, starting from whenever he was a little kid on up until whenever he was a older, retarded giant.
Right.
So yeah, it was a
right. But
other slightly emotional moment I thought was Arya watching the drama of her family's demise.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That really reminded me of Tyrion and Sansa watching the dwarves play out the scene with the 5 kings or whatever. It was very reminiscent of that. But yeah, that was pretty hard, especially with Ned, because,
he's portrayed to be a bumbling fool.
Yeah. And it's always, if you don't have a personal connection, I mean, I could see, like, let's say we were in that kind of situation. We didn't know Ned. We just were there. I mean, we might be laughing, too, because we just hear all these stories. But when it's, you have that personal connection, it's it's pretty rough, to watch
It's
her.
like Saturday Night Live is funny whenever it's not, ridiculing your dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I was also kind of wondering, like, what if that was when Sansa kind of learned that her sister had been married to Tyrion. Maybe she didn't know that until then. So she's, in a certain extent, maybe she's kind of learning about some of the details she had never even heard of until that moment.
Oh, John, that's a great point. So many times we watch these shows and we're not really considering the knowledge of the, of course we do, but not to the extent that in Arya's case, she hasn't really been in contact.
And so this is kind of a way that she's basically kind of putting the pieces together on the tragedy.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking about that from the perspective of the viewer. We know all this information, but we forget that, Arya has been out of contact, out of the loop, out of the Stark loop for so long that it's easy to forget that she doesn't know that. And I didn't even think about that until you said that she might not even have known about that wedding or any of that stuff. I mean, I'm sure she's known about the, everything that happened in season 1. I think she's up to date. Of course, she's up to date with. Season 2, she knows about Robb and the Red Wedding because she was actually there when it happened. But how much of the other stuff does she know? I don't know.
She might hear snippets here and there, and the broad brushstrokes. But yeah, watching the kind of the finer details getting played out in some sort of farcical stage is kind of a cruelty in and of itself.
Right. Yeah, especially in that way and in that manner.
Yeah, but in a sense, I kind of like it because it kind of demonstrates the fact that Arya does really need to shed her identity. Because if she doesn't, this kind of stuff is just going to keep on tearing her apart. So the sooner she can kind of put Arya Stark to rest, the better she'll be able to move on and kind of go forward.
Now, do you think her shedding her identity, though...
I'm not really going to do that, right?
Do you think that shedding the identity, though, in any sense, kind of make her kind of emotionless? Because it seems like a lot of that is tied to her feeling empathy, like her hurting at what happened to her close family members, and vengeance and the sense of revenge. I mean, all that is kind of a kind of passion. It's related to kind of the emotional response that you would feel. But if you completely discard that, do you just come like this emotionless assassin? Is that what you think she's headed towards? Or
I think she's kind of her destiny is kind of, she's hurtling in a trajectory, but at the same time she's getting pulled apart in 2 different directions. Whereas we know vengeance is somewhere on the menu, right? There's got to be a payoff for us as a viewer. But at the same time, in order for this vengeance to occur, Arya's got to let it all go.
Okay.
And so this poor Arya's little heart is getting torn in 2, 2 different directions. The need to let everything go and the need to remember everything and finally make it right in its own way.
Okay.
So that's how I read her situation. So in a certain sense, she's all of the Stark kids are really lamentable in their own way, but she's noticeably so.
Yeah, I really want to. I don't really know if I want her to let everything go 100%. It's like she never truly ditched Needle, her sword. So I'm wondering if I'm really wondering where it's going to go, because in today's episode, when Jack and Hagar, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
I think basically he was telling her you need to kill this person. She's not necessarily guilty or bad, but we've been hired to kill her.
That's what we do.
So, I mean, are they nothing more than assassins? I mean, in that way? I mean, if the faceless god, gives them a name, I mean, is there any kind of moral compass to this deity or this religion or this following? I mean, obviously, there's a kind of code because Jack and Hagar, he gave the girl 3 names, right? Because he saved her life. So there is a kind of, I don't know, like a kind of...
There's a currency. And the currency is involved, the main currency is people's lives. And so I think it's always save a life, you give a life. You give a life, you take
balance it out.
Yeah, so everything has kind of balanced, but I think that's about the only real morality that the whole thing kind of has.
Okay.
And beyond kind of the you respect the sanctity of life because you respect the inevitability and the clean beauty of death. And so maybe it's more of an aesthetic than a religion. I think in terms of religion, we got to see more of the religion from the new priestess. I can't remember her name right now.
Yeah. Seems to be the first time Varys was at a loss for words.
yeah. One of the things I was noticing is the priestess said, "You heard a voice from the fire."
Yeah.
Now, this has my little brain kind of spiraling. Like, is the voice from the fire? Could that possibly be Bran? Going back in time and talking to people from the fire.
Well, I'm assuming you remember the scene in which Varys reveals to Tyrion that magician guy that tortured him and cut off his sack and made the said some magic words, and he said, "Do you remember that in the TV series?"
Yeah.
So he said he heard some words, but he never revealed. He never really revealed what he thought that meant, right? He just said that's why he hated magic.
Yeah. So maybe this is something we're going to find out later.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm still thinking there's several times throughout the books where weird things happen, weird voices are heard by certain characters at crucial moments, and crazy shit starts going down.
Yeah.
So, of course, the main guy I'm thinking of here is the Mad King, and what Jaime said that he said, burn them all. Right. Maybe this is Bran telling the Mad King, you got to go after the White Walkers and burn them all. But all the Mad King got out of this was burn them all. And maybe that kind of drove him crazy.
Interesting. Okay, just kind of like Hodor, hold the door.
Yeah.
All he got was hold the door, and all he could say was Hodor for the next 20 or 30 years. Maybe the Mad King, just heard burn them all, and he said that's maybe what drove him mad. Maybe when Bran whispers to people, it kind of, we're assuming you're right about this whole thing. That would be a very interesting way of reanalyzing past events.
Yeah. Well, the past events are kind of written by poor Bran, who is sort of stumbling through them in the future.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, John, we're almost at I just want to mention one last thing before we go to predictions. I thought that was a fairly touching scene between Khaleesi and Jorah. Like, I feel that Jorah is the type of... He's a character that you grow to become sympathetic towards because he is devoted to her as much as anybody is devoted to anybody in this show. And I don't know. I wonder if he's going to try to find a cure like she sent him on this mission.
Orders are orders. I see him going east, looking for a cure east, and that'll be interesting because I think we need a character going that direction anyway.
Right.
I think my prediction for the series is there's going to be some all kinds of crazy weird shit's going to go on way the hell east of everything.
Okay.
And I kind of see his character kind of shooting off in that direction for some reason. But it was a nice scene where he didn't get the consummation of his love like he had always dreamed of. But I think he's resigned himself to the fact that he'll never get that. But at the same time, he was given recognition.
Yeah, he was
for at least having had that love. And maybe, for his little knightly instincts, that's about as good as it's going to get.
That's about as good as it gets. He kind of reminds me of the direwolves because they will fight until the death to protect the Starks. And it's just like Summer was the one that got slaughtered today. Is that right?
The Summer.
Summer could have taken off and went with the group, but no, the dog's whole purpose is to protect the Stark kids. So it jumped right in there without a blink of an eye. So.
A second of hesitation.
Without a second of hesitation. John, we're at the 20. I don't know how much of this will be edited, but I think we probably are.
Prediction time?
Yep, predictions time.
All right, prediction time.
The Wayne's World.
that was for the the flashback sequence.
I like that, by the way. That was a really nice touch.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. All right, prediction time. Should we do death predictions?
Okay.
All right, who do you think is going to go either next episode or coming up soon?
I think we should clarify that we were both wrong last time. We were both wrong last time. So I'm not sure how good I am at this, but I'd say I still want to go. Well, the very next episode. Okay, I'm going to predict that either no one's going to die next episode or it's going to be a minor character. I don't think.
You think it's hard to pull up a Hodor death with another pretty significant death?
I don't see, because at the rate they're going, I mean, over the course of 4 or 5 seasons, I mean, they've developed a huge cast of characters in this story, in this whole story. And while a number of them have been killed off, I feel like we're reaching the end point. So now they can be killed off on a regular basis. But we've had someone die every single episode, and I just don't see a major character dying next episode. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go with no one dies.
I think no major character will die next episode. And minor character... Oh, one thing I predict, though, I think, Bronn, he's supposed to be in Season 6. We have not seen him yet. And I'm very much looking forward to his return. I'll make a prediction that he'll come back soon. Probably, maybe, I hope, the next episode. Because the Sand Snakes were done in the first or second episode. We haven't heard from them. It's time to check in from the Sand Snakes, see what's happening in Dorne. I predict that we're going to see some Dorne stuff happening, and I hope we get to see Bronn come back. I know that Bronn had that kind of thing going on with one of the Sand Snakes, so he's back, right, in King's Landing, so who knows, but I think Bronn's going to show up at some point.
Okay, so instead of death predictions, we can go into maybe rebirth predictions.
Okay, yeah.
I like this idea. I'm going to go with Stannis isn't dead.
Really?
Just throw it out there.
Really? But, okay. Brienne confirms she killed him. She could be untruthful, but that's Brienne, right? So, what makes you think so? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. It'd be a great twist, but why do you think so?
I don't think Brienne, as much as she hated Stannis, I just don't think she's the killing an unarmed, wounded guy while he's up against a tree kind of thing. As pissed off as she was, that's just not the way she rolls. I'm a bit confused as to why she let Sansa believe she did. But I don't think we've really seen the end of it. It might be this is all something about Brienne is maybe going to somehow strike back against the Melisandre, the Red Lady. And maybe Stannis, right before... we thought that he died. Maybe he was able to sort of explain that, no, whoa, wasn't me. I was manipulated, and I need your help to go after this other lady.
It seemed to me that Stannis seemed resigned. He was like, do your duty. Like, it didn't seem like he had anything else. I mean, this was back in the last season.
That's a good point. He did say, do your duty. Yeah. I don't know. I just got this little feeling in my gut that... we haven't seen the last of old Stanny.
Like if you're right, that'd be cool.
That's gonna be.
I think that would be really cool if you're right about. By the way, sorry, John. I keep talking when you're talking. I think it's this internet problem we're having. But that would be really cool if that were true. I think that if it is true, I don't think it's because Stannis stopped and tried to explain. I think it's because Brienne's like, I'm looking down at a defeated man, and I think she might have had a shred of empathy towards him, especially when he openly admitted everything. And he's just like, do your duty. She's probably expecting someone more defiant to give her the fire to go ahead and go through with the deed. So if she didn't kill him, and if she's lying about it, I don't know why she would be intentionally saying all these things if she didn't do it. I think 95% chance she did, but if you might be right. There's a 5% holdout. It's a
long shot prediction. It's a long shot prediction. But if I really had to make another prediction, I'm going to say same thing I said last week. Loras is going to die, and Miss Cindy is going to die.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember. By the way, one final comment on my part, John. I thought that we were going to see some kind of showdown. I thought I remember seeing a trailer where that this episode was supposed to have the Tyrells show up with their armies at the gate of the... And I was waiting, and there was about 15 minutes left in the episode.
And then we didn't go to King's Landing at all.
Yeah, there was nothing. So I expect that to be in the next episode as well.
Yeah. I think we're going to spend plenty of time in King's Landing next week.
Right.
Yeah, and possibly Dorne as well. Although I hope not, because the Dorne threads always kind of annoyed me.
Right. I'm not that interested in that story.
Yeah.
Anyways, John, I think we're almost out of time here, but
Pleasure, Kris.
It was good. And next week I'll try to get this internet thing resolved so we don't have as many,
You're doing your best.
Doing my best.
Yeah. No need to apologize for that. Anyway, thank you for watching, internet people.
Yeah. Thank you. See you next week, John.
Bye.